Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Food School Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast on a mission to change the way the world eats. My name is Shurina. I'm a certified nutritionist, health, nutrition, brain performance, brain productivity coach, and just someone with a lot of passion for helping you guys to learn how to use nutrition as a precise tool to feel, look, and do your absolute best. Guys, today I was standing in line in immigration office in Playa del Carmen, Mexico. I needed to get my personal identification number. Didn't get it, but learned what I needed to get it. It's also often a necessary experience. Before we get what we want to get, we first need to learn what we need for that, right? But besides that, there was a guy, a really nice guy. He actually helped me to ask the right person where to stand in line in the first place. And we first exchanged our names, and then we continued our conversation. And then we decided to follow each other on Instagram. And he's like, when you're in a conversation and you see that the person is trying to remember your name, and I'm like, Chris, that's why you need brain coach, because we were talking about who did what. And that's exactly it, guys. When you stand in front of someone and something is on the tip of your tongue, but you can't really remember it exactly what that was, like somebody's name or a quote, do you remember that was really cool quote that you just read in a book or in an article? And well, if only you could remember that, and you could produce such a different impression on people, on co-workers, on possible partners in business and in life, if you remember these facts that make up your personality. Guys, if you didn't think about that, think about it again. Memory makes your personality shine. We are our memories. Our memories are our identity. And if your brain is not capable of forming a lot of these memories, your personality is going to be so much poorer. You're going to be losing so much of yourself because you keep forgetting things, guys. So that's, why memory, for example, is important, and why I'm so pumped to be able to help people to learn how to use different, nutrition tools, lifestyle protocols, behavior protocols, how to adjust environment, use things like essential oils or certain colors or lights or foods and nutrients to improve memory, because that will change who you are and the impression, the impact you create in the world. So that's just an example from my daily life, and I encounter these examples like almost every day, where I'm like, if you maximize your brain capacity, you could actually remember that, or you could say that in a better way. And I know that because I experienced the same exact sensations when I wasn't optimizing my brain performance, right? So that's why it's important. And today, guys, we are continuing our third episode on the subject of what your brain misses on a diet, on an X diet or certain dietary protocol. Basically, we are talking about this week dietary protocols or choices that people make, be that choosing a certain diet like keto or low carb or vegan or vegetarian, or having to avoid certain foods because you're allergic, sensitive to it, or because you have some health condition that does not really allow you to enjoy that food like it allows to do it to a lot of other people. So we are talking about, these different protocols, the foods that you might be limiting, and what nutrients with these foods you are also limiting. Because guys, if you eat fewer foods, whole foods, you probably are limiting your nutrient sources, right? Because different food groups, they have the capacity to bring certain nutrients in a better, richer, more bioavailable way. Like what I'm talking about, for example, is dairy products like yogurt or cheeses. They might not be positive from all aspects, depending on how much of that consume, whether you have the bacteria to process them or not. But they do deliver calcium, for example, in most bioavailable, obvious, digestible, absorbable way. And it's easy also to track it. If you use dairy as your calcium source, you know exactly how much dairy you eat or don't eat daily. Or let's talk about what's other food. Well, fatty fish, right? Things like salmon or sardines or herring or mackerel. The only really legitimate source of omega-3 fatty acids, of marine omega-3 fatty acids that are so essential for brain structures, for brain cells, nerve cells, for memory formation and normal function of our nerve cells and brain and cell membranes. So certain foods deliver certain nutrients better. And once you start limiting whole food groups and you decide to eat, only meat, right? Only beef or whatever, you're going to be missing out on a whole range of nutrients that is just not available in that food source, or available in a very, very poor form or very tiny amount. Like, in some articles you'll read, almonds are a great source of calcium. Yeah, if you eat like half a kilo of them or more, but that does not make it a great source of calcium. There are so many other foods, people say, well, flax seeds are great sources of omega-3s. Yes, of certain omega-3s that can, in theory, be made into the kind that the fish has in abundance. But the conversion rate is very poor in a human body, and you'll be consuming liters of flaxseed oil, not even flax seeds, to get the same amount in theory, because the body just not that capable of this conversion. And that's why, again, it is important to be aware of certain nutrients that you might be missing. And today, we are talking about vegan and vegetarian diets. If you limit your animal protein sources a lot, if you limit fish, chicken, beef, and dairy products, basically all animal products, or in a case of vegetarian, maybe you don't eat anything but eggs and milk or dairy products, or just dairy products. So you might be missing out on two key components of your healthy, fit body and brain. You might be missing out on certain amino acids. Now, guys, there is protein in plant-based foods and there is protein in animal-based foods. But the protein in those two food groups, they're different, because each protein, it consists of different amino acids or building blocks that our body actually needs to build different structures, to run chemical reactions, to make neurotransmitters, so our neurons communicate in a certain way and produce certain states like motivation or focus or flow state or creativity or feeling happy. Like, we need all these amino acids, building blocks of proteins, to create those neurotransmitters, to make those chemical reactions happen, to optimize our brain chemistry, to feel and do things in a certain way, right? And so again, those amino acids, they are the amount and the kinds of them. They're different in animal-based foods and plant-based foods. Animal-based foods, they are more like us, because we are also from animal kingdom. And so when we eat animal foods, all animal foods have all the essential amino acids that we cannot produce in our body. We need to eat them from our foods. Compared to plant-based foods and sources of protein that are not complete, they do not have all the essential amino acids except for two plants, quinoa and soy. All the other plants, you need to eat a variety of them in order to hit all of the amino acids. And the profile is still going to be wildly different depending on what kind of plants and in what amounts you combine them, right? Like they say, combine rice and beans or lentils in a single day to have the ability to hit all the essential amino acids that we need in our food. But depending on the amounts of each food you have, the kinds of bean, the kind of rice, amounts, and how your digestive system is able to get through the fiber to actually get those amino acids. Protein in animal foods also is more bioavailable because there is no fiber that your digestive system has to work through. So the point is, in plant-based foods, it is much harder to get all the amino acids in all the optimal amounts. Plus, the amount of protein you get from plant foods is usually not comparable. Well, yeah, it's actually not comparable to animal-based foods. Let's say quinoa. You want to get your protein from quinoa? Well, 100 grams, so about 3 ounces of quinoa is only about 4.4 grams of protein. Compare that to, let's say, chicken breast, one of the most condensed protein source. That has about 28 grams of protein per the same amount of 3 ounces, or a little bit less than 100 grams, right? So like 28 or 30 compared to 5, right? There is a huge difference. And I always recommend to people of average size, not professional athletes, to consume at least 100 grams of protein. If you are taller, if you are a professional athlete or just exercise a lot, especially if you are in your bodybuilding phase, you probably need more than 100. I personally consume about 120. That seems the amount that works for me. I work out every day. I have quite good amount of lean body mass. I'm 5.5 feet or 165 centimeters tall. Again, if you're a guy, if you are taller, if you are an athlete, all of this will add to your protein requirements. And to hit that amount from plants, it's very hard. Tofu, you think, well, it's pure protein. Not really. There is quite some fat and other compounds. And 100 grams or 3 ounces, 3.5 ounces of tofu is about 8 grams of protein. Again, not that rich. Imagine you want to eat 100 grams of protein from tofu. You'll need, how much is it? Like kilo and something, it's quite a lot. That's why for people on a plant-based diet, I recommend to include protein powder, at least one serving that has, 20-30 grams of protein, and make sure that it says complete protein, meaning that in that protein powder, they combine several plant sources of protein to get all the amino acids, right? Because again, usually if you just have one source, except for, again, maybe soy protein, you will not get the same amino acids. I mean, you for sure will not get all the essential amino acids except for soy protein. Other than that, you need to combine different plants in one protein powder to get complete protein, right? So look for that if you are on a plant-based diet or you just want to supplement with plant-based protein powder. What else about protein, guys? Tempeh, again, if you are on plant-based, on vegan, vegetarian diet, if you are limiting your animal-based protein, then tempeh is quite high. I think it's like the highest among plants when it comes to complete protein plant-based source. Tempeh, it's a product made from soy. It is fermented. Make sure that you get naturally fermented soy products. These seem to not have negative health effects. And that has 19 grams of protein per, again, 3.5 ounces. So 19 grams, that's much better than 4 grams for quinoa or 8 grams for tofu. And if you are on an animal-based diet, just, again, I recommend to get at least 100 grams of protein. Shooting too high, I also do not recommend that, but between 100 150, usually that's where you want to be. Again, unless you're super tall, you're a professional athlete, bodybuilder, that completely changes the game. But so chicken breast, for example, again, 3.5 ounces, 100 grams is about 30 grams. For beef, we have a little bit less, maybe 26. For fish, depending on the fish, salmon is about 24, 26. Then whitefish might be about 20, 22. But you probably want to eat a pound of fleshy proteins. Eggs, by the way, great for many nutrients, but just 6 grams of protein per one egg. So if you consider eggs, your major protein source, you might be undershooting. And why not having enough protein is bad for you? Well, first of all, when you don't have enough protein, your body will start not to maintain as much lean body mass, and that is, well, you're not going to be as lean, your bone density, your muscle mass, long-term especially, going to be compromised. You're going to be losing more of that over the course of your life, and the amount of muscle mass is a predictor, one of the predictors of longevity. What else? Your brain performance is not going to be optimized because you're not going to have abundant availability of different amino acids that your brain again uses to create neurotransmitters for you to think, to make memories, to create emotional states like focus or happiness or motivation and confidence, right? So protein, it's also very important for the brain, for your nervous system. And when you have inadequate amount or, just enough, your brain function might be also compromised. And you, by the way, can experience things like brain fog just because you don't have enough amino acids in the pool floating around for your brain to create such states as focus. Because again, you need certain neurotransmitters to make focus happen. You need certain amino acids, building blocks of protein to make a lot of states like focus happen, and to even form memories and do a lot of other things in your brain, right? So protein is important. On vegan, vegetarian diet, you might be really missing out. So I do recommend to count your protein and also make sure that you have complete protein in your diet. Eat tofu, eat tempeh, supplement, and count your protein. The second thing I wanted to talk to you about is being more plant-based on vegan, vegetarian diet, or just limiting a lot of animal foods. Omega-3 fatty acids, those fats that are most abundant fats. Well, actually, I'm not sure if it's the most abundant. I think it is. But I do know that marine omega-3s are 97%, DHA specifically, 97% of all the omega-3s in your brain. So things that come from the sea, fats that come from the sea, not from flax seeds, not from walnuts, not from chia seeds, they are different, Omega-3s that come from plants and land sources are not the same. Actually, some of them are the same from animal foods, but if you are a vegan or vegetarian trying to be plant-based, you're probably not going to be consuming a lot of those from land animals either, right? Omega-3s from the sea sources and from land sources are different. They are the same family. That's why they're called omega-3s, but they're like cousins. One is LAA, one is EPA, one is DHA, and they're like, when you decode those names, they have like long names and they're completely different. So omega-3s, it's like a whole family of fats. They're not the same, right? And your brain knows the difference. Your brain is especially sensitive and in love with DHA fatty acids that come from fatty fish, that come from things like caviar or some oysters and mussels, and they also come from seaweed. But you can't eat enough DHA from seaweed as a human being. You're just not going to be able to do that. You want to supplement with algae-based oil if you don't eat fish or any other marine plant-based foods, and you want to love your brain and deliver all the nutrients that highly functioning brain needs. DHA is one of those fats that the more you seem to have in your brain, the better your brain works, especially things like memory. DHA, they are structural components of your brain cells and your nerve cells, and the brain in volume literally shrinks when you don't get enough. And again, usually the less you have, the less brain you have, right? Because again, they are structural materials. They are very important for your memory, for emotions, for personality. These fats are very important. And So if you are on a vegan, plant-based, vegetarian diet and you don't consume any fish oil, any fatty fish every single day, then you're not optimizing your brain health, right? So I highly recommend you to look into algae-based oil and make sure that you consume no less at least 1 gram of omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA combined. If you truly want to optimize your brain performance, you want to look into getting no less than 1 gram of DHA specifically. They're not even the same in marine kingdom. You have EPAs and you have DHAs. EPAs seem to be better for heart health, kind of like more important, and DHAs seem to be the brainy marine omega-3s. To make it simple, again, vegans, vegetarians are not consuming fish, or, if you consume fish really, really rarely, like once a week, it's not enough. You need to be consuming it daily. So look into algae-based oil. Fish oil, look for DHA extra. The more DHA, the better for your brain. Again, 97% of your omega-3s in the brain are DHAs. I got myself recently, a few weeks ago, Nordic Naturals DHA Extra, where they have about 600 milligrams of EPA and then about 1 gram of DHAs. Plus, I consume fatty fish every single day, either a can of sardines or salmon or any other fatty fish I can get my hands on. And if you love caviar, that's one hell of a omega-3 fatty acid source and choline and just one brainy food, right? So if you love caviar or red caviar, black caviar, there are so many kinds, but especially, red and black are rich in omega-3 fatty acids. So those two nutrients, complete protein, again, not all proteins are the same, not all omega-3s are the same, and you need to understand those details, especially on a vegan, vegetarian diet where you limit a lot of animal products that are great sources for a lot of nutrients, like complete protein that is needed for your brain function and every single aspect of your health. Heck, guys, everything is built in protein in you. Your skin, your hair, your nails, your internal organs, everything. You cannot underestimate the importance of protein, especially if you want to stay leaner for longer in your life. Again, protein is very important and you need to focus on quality. And on a vegan diet especially, there is no way around supplementation, just no way around if you want to optimize your health and your brain performance. And then omega-3 fats, right? You need them. Like, if you're interested in emotional health, in memory, in brain performance, in focus, in having great mental health and staying happy and so many other things, they're also highly anti-inflammatory. Omega-3 fatty acids from marine sources daily, that is your prescription. Go for at least 1 gram, but best brain nutrition scientists recommend to go for 2 and 3 grams. And if you are already experiencing a lot of health problems with inflammation and brain health especially, you probably want to shoot for 4 and 5 grams, guys. Yep, that's how much. And usually the cheaper omega-3 fatty oil supplement is, the less of those omega-3s that you actually need you get. So you need to actually look at the ingredient list and see how much EPA and DHA specifically combined the supplement has, because a lot of supplement producers, they're very cheaty. They would put all kinds of oils in it that are cheaper and just a little bit of what's actually the most expensive. So pay attention to that. If you have any questions about any of your omega-3 oil supplement, please do reach out, because again, a lot of people make mistakes. A lot of people reach out to me and they like, I got this supplement. And I'm like, but see, omega-3, EPA and DHAs, actually very tiny amount that is not going to give you the result, any result that you can notice, right? The amount makes a difference. It's like, if you consume a drop of caffeine, would it really affect your performance? No, not really. The dose makes a difference, guys. The same with almost anything. Omega-3 fatty acids, that's one of those things. So reach out for recommendations. Re-listen to this episode if you missed something, and to solidify this knowledge in your brain, share this episode with other people so they can benefit and figure their protein and omega-3s out for optimal health and brain performance. And guys, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening, and till next time, eat better daily.